really being able to feel proud of what I've done and have somebody else connect with it. That is success for me.
If the day I die, nobody knows my name, that's okay, as long as I've touched thousands of people and the world knows them. I don't know why I feel like crying, but.
You want to live with my art. There's no greater compliment.
My name is Elli Milan, and I'm the founder of Milan Art Institute and a professional artist for the last 30 years.
My name's Alannah Anderson. I'm a professional artist and I'm also the Chief Product Officer here at Milan Art.
So I'm here with Alannah Anderson, and we are going to be talking about her incredible journey of going from a creative director for some tier 1 companies to a fine artist, and what really defines success for a fine artist. Well, Alannah, thanks for coming today, and I know that you will have so many incredible things that will inspire people, because it's really rare to find somebody who feels so fulfilled and full of purpose and in the creative field and all the things that you balance as a creative person in charge of creative products for creative people, as well as being a professional artist at the same time. So I'm super excited about what you have to share today. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, like your background, where you come from, and your beginnings as a creative person?
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share a little bit about my passion for Milan Art Institute, and also a little bit about my story and how I came into the creative field and what's brought me to where I am today. So originally I'm from Australia, and I've been living here in the US for the past 10 years. I started out really being a creative child and just finding that I felt like I belonged whenever I was creating art or doing something that involved making something for someone. And that's how I felt I connected to people. And going into like my high school years, I could never really feel connected to subjects that were like very left brain, like math or science or any of those things.
Were you kind of known in high school as the artsy one, or?
I guess so. It was where I sort of recognized I had skills, and that was when I became more serious about pursuing art as my main subjects. And I did graphics, and I did like food and English, like all the things that were creative was where I really poured myself into. And then like coming towards the end of high school, like I really felt like that's what I want to do with my life.
When you say that's what you want to do with your life, any creative field, or were you really thinking fine art?
I had graphics as another subject. So my family were always like very skilled in like more of the academic subjects. And I always felt like maybe it was like I didn't have an ambition because I was into art and I was into design and things that were more on the, that side of things.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't taken seriously. And so whenever I talked about going to an art school or something like that, it was almost like I was a bit underestimated and wasn't taken seriously. And I remember one of my family members, whenever I was coming into my final year of high school, saying to me like, "Oh, I didn't even think you would graduate high school." Like just assumed that I didn't have ambition to complete high school. And so I made it my mission to like ace all of my art studies, my graphics, my English. So I became like, okay, it's more acceptable if I focus on graphics.
Yeah.
So I was looking
That's like a real art job.
It's like a real job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can make a career in doing that. It was like, that's how it was perceived. So I ended up having this sort of crossroad in my life coming to the end of high school. Was it what, I was going to go to college? What was I going to do? And I had an opportunity to apply to a number of different universities in Australia. And at the time, my mum was moving overseas. I needed to get a job. I needed to support myself. And I had an opportunity to apply for a job in a print and design house in Melbourne. And they saw my work in our school magazine because they printed it and offered me a job. And it was my first job. But I also had, like, the same week I had interviews with these universities, and I really doubted that I don't know, I had a whole lot of self-doubt. I was like,
About the job or the university?
I had a lot of self-doubt about, the fact that I would even get accepted into these schools.
Okay.
It's something that kind of I carried through childhood and into my teen years. I was very self-conscious, very, I didn't believe that, I could actually, I could belong in a place like that.
Yeah.
I just thought, that's for the really talented or, the really special artists.
Because
And
nothing was really good enough.
nothing was, yeah. It was like I was trying my hardest and I don't know if I really felt like I could do it or I could be accepted. And so I worked in that job for about 4 years, and then I started to freelance because I had people coming to me and asking me if I would do this logo or if I would do this, flyer or magazine or whatever. So I spent about 8 years running my own little freelance business, and just really going deeper into branding, like the whole, the way branding affects people on an emotional level really became like a passion for me.
And you basically taught yourself all these things. And
Yeah, I didn't go to any kind of school or anything for it. It was really like an opportunity presented itself. And if I didn't know how to do it, I would figure it out.
yeah. So then what happened next? You met your husband.
Yeah. We started our family pretty early on in our marriage, and we had an opportunity to come to the US. I left all my creative connections and business contacts behind, and we came to the US with our young family. And a few years into living in the US, I had an opportunity to work for a tech company in California, and that really took my my skills and my understanding of like tier one business branding to a whole new level. And I had the opportunity to work with some really amazing brands. And that was also like a whole new level of design skill that I had to find.
What kind of brands did you?
So we had the opportunity to acquire Gucci as a client, and that was a really exciting time. And then from there, we started working with like Valentino and Saint Laurent and other brands like Sephora, and it wasn't just like luxury brands, but like lots of big corporates that were like global businesses. So I was working with those type of style guides, but it wasn't just on sort of their branding. It was more like taking their brand and then creating like an online experience with their brand. So yeah, again, like really hearing a vision, also hearing the vision for the owner of the business to create our product in such a way. So yeah, I was always striving for this perfection because that's what these brands really expect.
Yeah.
It's very high level. Everything has to be perfect. So I found that like throughout my whole journey, like I was always just chasing perfection. And that became like a real, almost
A gift and a curse at the same time?
yeah, it was. It was like I'm trying to reach for this perfection that, I mean, it also became part of my identity. It was like, if I can't reach that, I'm not good enough. Like it became something that was like unhealthy. So the environment that I worked in was like really accentuating that insecurity that I had in myself. And it didn't matter how hard I worked or how much I put in. It seemed like it was never going to be good enough. So that was kind of the beginning of a period where I began to really burn out. I wasn't able to really find my own voice in what I was doing. And I also really just had this burning desire to be making a real difference through my skills that I had and the things that I had learned all these years. I felt it became a little superficial, and I was becoming more like that world. And I knew that's not who I am. Like I'm not put here on this earth in this time to just be a machine that's not really connecting with people and being able to make a real difference that actually affects people's lives. Like it just became very obvious to me that there's something more for me.
So you're on your way to feeling burnt out, and what was sort of the last final straw, or what brought you to the point where things shifted?
I guess it was the thing that made it really shift for me, and I had to take a step back. It was also coming around the time of COVID when the world was changing, and it was like, okay, I just realized like I had two young boys and I was pouring my life into this job. And I had really neglected my family in that time because I was really chasing this like high position of recognition in this role that I thought was my identity. It's like, that's who I am. I have to be this person that is impressing my boss and, impressing these clients. And that's how I find my worth, like, is in doing an amazing job for these people. And I had realized, like, I had actually sacrificed a lot of time with my young kids and with my husband, and it was like really my whole focus. Like I poured my whole life into it, and I feel really bad to admit that, but I feel like that was when I started realizing, like, it was like this catalyst with COVID. It was like a wake up call to a lot of people.
Yeah, totally.
And for me, I was like,
It caused you to reevaluate everything.
yeah, it really did. And I know that's true for a lot of people.
Well, I think it takes a tremendous amount of courage to get to that place where you recognize it and you do evaluate or reevaluate and then make a change. Can you remember back to like the day after? How did it feel? Did you feel a huge weight lift? Did you feel like regret? Like, oh my God, did I blow it? Vacillating between the two? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I can still remember it because it was like it was a huge decision. And I had been it wasn't like a split second, I'm gonna leave the job. It was kind of like I was coming down and realizing things about what was happening in my family life and then everything going on in the world, and like just realizing like I am so out of touch with who I am. It was a combination of things. So when I finally came to that place where I realized like I need to walk away from this, I was in a place of peace. It was like I felt like I had made the right decision, but after making the decision, I definitely vacillated. And I remember saying to my husband, like it was at least 12 months after I made that decision that I felt like I'm okay with it now, because it did come back like constantly. It was like, did I make a mistake? What should I do? I was just like, I was definitely like very confused.
Yeah. So what did you do over those next few months? Did you paint? Did you create? Were you looking for another job? What were you doing?
No. So like while I was coming into making that decision, I had found, I had started to see ads for the mastery program. And I had started seeing like, oh, there's a career for art. Like,
So you started seeing art ads from
Yeah.
Milan Art Institute.
yeah, so we talked about it. I got on the wait list, and I started doing the program right before I made the decision to quit my job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about that process of discovering yourself again.
So when I started, it was I was doing it monthly. So at the time, we only got like week by week. So I would be like getting through each assignment. I was so focused on it, and I was like hungry for the next week as soon as the lessons came out. And so I got through the first section, which was all the skill, but I was so desperate to get to the voice section to like start to unpack that. And for me, it was such a deeply transformative time because I was so desperately trying to find meaning in my own story and all of that.
So making money with like as a fine artist, was that sort of like secondary, or did you even believe that's possible? Because it sounds like the main reason why you wanted to take the mastery program was because you really wanted to find yourself again and who you are as a creative person.
Yeah. That was definitely secondary, but it wasn't like I didn't believe I could do it.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I had managed to be financially support myself through learning skill.
Yeah.
So the main thing for me was really understanding who I am on the deep down and what are those things that make me unique when it comes to my creativity and my art. So definitely like selling my art and everything. I knew that was like, that will come, but I have to know who I am first.
Yeah. So you finish the voice section, you start building out your portfolio, you graduate, you have this portfolio of your art, your fine art that you've created. And I know, you were on Outstanding Artist, and we met, and you came and took some workshops from us.
Yeah.
So now you're like full-fledged in this like creative fine art world.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of friends that are fine artists, and you've truly shifted kind of out of that design culture into this more fine art culture. Looking back over that shift, like what do you feel like you've gained the most, or what means the most to you, from all that hard work of concentrating on your voice, your fine art, who you are as a creative person?
I think like the main thing for me is that it's really taught me to actually have courage and even sit here and speak to you about my journey. Like it's given me so much courage to understand, like it's hard to actually speak about what you love and what you're passionate about when you haven't really been able to connect and identify that. And I really believe that through the process of finding that and through going all the different exercises that we go through in the program, all the different things there's so much packed in there, and there's so many seeds planted. And I graduated 4 years ago. And it's really been like across the years unpacking those things. And it's not like a one and done, it's with me all the time. And it's really encouraging me to be brave and to believe in myself and to have courage. And that is the thing that I think is, for me, the most magical part.
Okay, so you sort of made that switch. You graduated the program, selling art, creating, and then you started to feel this draw or this pull to kind of go back into working for a company. And it's not the money, because it wasn't like a financial need.
No.
It was purpose driven.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because most people, they're trying to get out of a job,
Yeah.
to become a fine artist,
Yeah.
Be their own boss and not go back into that.
I realized that I had some skills and experience, and I didn't want to completely let go of my, that experience and skill that I had, but I really, having met you guys in person, coming to the workshop, going to a retreat, doing the Outstanding Artist, like while I was in portfolio, I just felt so passionate about the authenticity in which, and the true mission that you have in like having artists wake up to who they really are, and like having them elevate beauty in their art. And I just believed in that so much. I was like telling everybody about it, and I knew I had some skills that could help the business. So that's when we started talking more about like, what can I do? I mean, I have time as well as painting. Like, I like to be really productive. So I like to do a lot with my time and not just sit and paint all day. Like, I like to do lots of things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was really through connecting with the vision and connecting with other students, other graduates, seeing how people's lives are affected, coming through graduating. And I just wanted to see more of that. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to contribute and be like, what can I bring that's going to help this, continue? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you've been, you've done it. I mean, you've been such a huge help to us. And, yes, your skills and what you bring to the table, but also just your commitment to the vision. I think that's like, to me, everything. And because it translates into of course, the work you do, but also just like wanting to go and help out on retreats, like you've done that. And then, mentoring other artists, and, just all the things that you do. And now even teaching, and I know that was a big step for you to kind of go, okay, not only did I just learn it, but I've learned it at such a level and I've practiced it at such a level that I actually have something that I uniquely can share with other artists that they can learn from.
Yeah.
And that's like, you in your old work, sort of moving your way up towards the top, because I think the ultimate sort of level of achievement for artists, a lot of people think it's like, oh, selling a $50,000 painting or $100,000, getting into a museum. And I think honestly, it's effectively sharing what you have with other artists, because it's this. I'll never forget a 20-year-old musician told me this, and it changed my life forever. I was I think I was 39 or 40 when she told me this. Her name was Chelsea, and she was teaching my kids piano. But she was teaching in a way that was so exceptional. She knew this pattern. And if you're a musician watching this, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But to me, this was like, what? This exists? I had no idea. Because I took piano as a kid, and it was like EGBDF and FACE, and, I clunked through it and never really made music. And so she had this pattern. I can't remember what it is, but there's some pattern you memorize, like half step up, 2 steps down, 1 step, there's some pattern in the keys that you memorize, and then you improv off of it. And so she was teaching my kids this pattern, and my like little second grader was able, like Dino and Dahlia were able to make music from their heart. And I just thought, that is incredible. Like everybody in the world needs to know this. Anyway, so we were talking one day, and I was asking her, I was thinking, oh, she's teaching little kids piano as some side gig. She's 20. What are her big ideas? What are her, big dreams? And she goes, oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. Sharing this with children is the ultimate. And I was like, what? No, don't you want to be, a concert pianist? Don't you want to, make it into the museums or whatever? And she's like, no. She goes, because me being a teacher means that I can duplicate what I know, and it causes this ripple effect. And if I can train thousands of musicians to make music, I've filled the world with more music than I could on my own. And I was like, wow. I'm like, and I had just started teaching art, and I had just opened the school. And I think it was about 2012 that this was going on. And I had just started the school, and it affected me so deeply. I thought, the ultimate for an artist is not necessarily, and I mean, that can be different for everybody, but at least for me, it wasn't, being in the museum or selling $100,000 painting like I used to think. I thought the ultimate is to be able to affect other artists. Equipping other artists, because they are going to live out their life and they're going to touch so many people. And even because like if the day I die, nobody knows my name, that's okay, as long as I've touched hundreds or thousands of people and the world knows them,
It's like you were saying about the way she taught them. It's kind of like that in the mastery program. Like you're given all the tools, and then you're given the ability to improv. And that's how you find your own. It's not like
you're memorizing notes.
And you have to paint this way, and it has to be this way, There's plenty of art teachers that are like that. Like they want you to paint like them, but this is different. It's like really find who you are, really experiment with as many different mediums as you can, and here are a lot of ways you can do it, and then you piece it together.
Yeah.
And it's not the same for any two people.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What in your heart do you feel like is the ultimate success as a fine artist for you?
For me personally is really being able to feel proud of what I've done, being able to speak confidently about it and to put it out into the world and have somebody else connect with it. The ultimate is that they want to live with it and they want to bring it into their home. That is success for me as an artist, that somebody else has connected to what went into that painting and what it means to them, and hearing how that affects their life when they see it. That's to me, that's the ultimate.
Yeah. Well, I fairly recently bought a piece of your art.
Yes.
And I when I saw it, I had to have it. And then my thought was, so we had a show at our gallery, and we were raising money to help people in Maui that lost their homes and businesses in the Maui fires. And Alannah sent, I think I can't remember. Anyway, she sent some paintings to the gallery, and we had this show. And as soon as I saw her painting, it was this turtle, and it was swimming up to the light, and you could see its sort of belly or its chest, under it. And it had this red iridescent paint on it that just flashed and grabbed me. And I just really kept looking at the painting. But as you say, somebody connecting with your painting is your, highest form of success as an artist. I have to say what connected me with painting, because I've never told you this.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I kept thinking, oh, I want to buy this. I really want to buy this. And it was, close to John and I's anniversary. And I thought I could get it for him for the anniversary to justify the purchase, but I was really buying it for me. And I didn't know this, but John was thinking the same thing. And he really wanted it and had his own reasons for wanting it, I suppose. But I also felt like, oh, I can't do that because I'm taking it from somebody else.
Okay.
And I thought somebody else will fall in love with this, and I'm taking this piece away from them. And so I thought about it all night, and I just couldn't chase it, and I really had to have it. But it almost felt selfish to have it. So I just thought, in the end, I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be selfish, and I'm just going to buy this piece. But what really connected me to it is it's hard to put into words. And I guess it just felt like a combination of nostalgia, like a very sweet nostalgia combined with wonder and awe. So this sort of awe and wonder with nostalgia is the best, but it was a feeling. It wasn't a thought, it was a feeling.
Yeah.
And as I've thought about it, I feel like somehow I felt connected to my own roots. And the mental pathway to that is it reminded me of Nemo and the turtles that went through the current.
Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah. That one.
Yeah. And I know you're from Australia, so it's kind of funny, but that's kind of what it felt like. This turtle was in this complete flow of its destiny, and was home in it, and it somehow connected me to my own roots, and we all have these roots, and that sort of current or that flow that you're in.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was just such a sweet feeling. And every time I look at it on my wall, I have that feeling of like, you're right where you need to be.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Like hearing those things is like what makes you, want to do more, get back and engage with that thing that's inside of you and create more art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really loved the piece. And I don't know why I feel like crying, but
I never knew that. Yeah. Well, for me, my mentor and the person who has led me down this path of self-discovery want to put my art on their wall is like, it's the ultimate.
Yeah.
You want to live with my art. That's like, there's no greater compliment than that, putting your soul into a painting and then having like the person I look up to for, have I done the right thing with my art, wanting to be with my art is like the greatest compliment.
I think I just figured out why I felt emotional just now. I'm not sure, but I think this is why. It's hard when you're feeling it to understand why you feel something.
Yeah.
There's something about buying art, at least for me. I don't know if you feel this, but there's something about it that it's like it touches on worthiness. Like I don't feel worthy to buy it. And like I don't deserve that, or I can't own that, and like I felt like I was taking it away from somebody else, and how could I? And I didn't feel worthy enough to buy it. Which is, I think I feel that every time I buy art. And that was my biggest struggle of getting over this feeling of not having worth or value or being worthy for something. And so I think just like reconnecting with that thought and kind of reliving the decision to buy it is what got me. And thinking like, no, this is for me. This piece is actually meant for me. And it's like the ultimate sort of, I don't know, what's the word, like humbling thing where you don't put that barrier of, oh, I don't deserve that. Like that feels like safe. It feels safe to go, I don't deserve that. I'm not good enough for that. Like that feels like a comfort zone. But to actually go outside of that comfort zone and go, no, I can have that. Like I'm
it's so different to any other thing. Like,
it's really deep and strange.
We can spend so much money on ourselves as women, like getting our nails done, getting our hair done, like going
buying
shopping, jewelry, but art's different. It's like because it's such an identity thing. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Like that really means a lot to me.
Well, Alannah, I did not really anticipate when we set out to talk about all these things, and success as an artist and what is success as an artist. But I'm also kind of thankful. It's like, it doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels embarrassing or you feel exposed. But I always say like tears are information, and they get you to go deeper and really understand yourself on a deeper level. And so, I appreciate all of this. And I think just like hearing your heart about what you think in your journey as an artist, and what you really value as success as an artist, is really inspiring and beautiful. And so I really appreciate you coming here and sharing and talking through all these topics.
Yeah, it's been really interesting and really special for me too, just to be able to connect on these different things. We hold it all in a lot of the time. And given the opportunity, it's another thing about bravery as an artist is like being open and vulnerable and sharing your heart. So,
absolutely.
It's been my privilege to be here. So thank you.
And so if people want to see more of your art, tell people where they can find your art.
Yeah, so my Instagram is alannah.anderson and my website is alannah.art. You can check me out online.
Well, great. So thank you. And I hope this really inspires you, whether you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur, you are an art collector, you're just maybe an art enthusiast or just starting to get inspired with art. I hope this kind of opens up a inner dialogue for you to think about. So be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you on the next one.